Hello, this is Borscht, and I am here to record a little video for all of my puppy families who are receiving one of our puppies. Now, I'm going to make this available online as well, just in case somebody might find this useful as well. Um, Disclaimers first. So, I am the happy owner of Kóla, the dog, who is a cross between a Weimaraner and a Golden Retriever. Everything I tell you is based on my 4+ years of experience with Kóla. I am not a trainer. I'm not a breeder. So it's my experience, and your experience might vary. And at some points, your trainer or your breeder might disagree with me. Also, everything that I say is related to this breed of dog. So it's kind of a pointer dog, basically. So, take things with a pinch of salt. As I said many times, no dog is ever going to be perfect. Mine isn't perfect. It's all about hitting that balance, getting that balance right for you and the dog, so that you don't start hating each other because of things that you're trying to get each other to do. But it's certainly a partnership where I believe in positive reinforcement only. So punishment is pointless. It just generates, I think, resentment and fear in a dog. Discipline is definitely needed, but not in the form of punishment. We will come and talk about that. So to start with, then, I would like to talk a bit about preparing for receiving your new friend, family member, puppy, whatever you want to call them, into your home. So they come anywhere between 8 to 10 weeks, ideally, and they will come as basically a small child who doesn't know where they're going, doesn't know how to behave, and we have to show them everything from scratch. Because of how we treat our puppies here, they'll be very well socialized. You guys will have met them. They should be very friendly to you, but they will also be in their chewing phase. So they will be chewing you, chewing your clothes, chewing everything that they have available to them. So one of your first jobs will be, of course, to make sure that they don't chew anything you don't want them to, because it's not their fault. If they do chew things and you've allowed them to, then that's on you, basically. You can teach them gradually, but certainly not initially, of everything that must not be chewed. So, carpets, stairs, legs of furniture, doorknobs, everything that they can reach. So you have to make sure that the space that they arrive into is a safe space that they can actually be in without being reprimanded all the time and being told no all the time. That's no good for you, and it's no good for them either. So I would always recommend a crate. Now, I used to think a crate is a cage. I used to think that it's a terrible thing, but it's actually a really good thing because it helps for them to have their own den. If you make it a den, it's a safe place for them to love and to be comfortable and secure in. You should cover it with a blanket so that it's covered from the back by a wall and on the sides by blankets, so that it does feel really like a den, except for the gate, the door that you open to let them in. And I would put them in the crate as much as possible initially for them to get used to. And the way to get them to get used to the crate is to make the crate a fun place. So what's a fun place? A fun place is where fun stuff occurs. Food and treats are abundant, and you're always unbelievably happy when they go in there. By the way, I have a relatively deep voice, and that doesn't work so well. If you have a higher pitched voice, or you can do something like this, it will always help to use a higher pitched voice. Dogs just respond to it better. Even now, they were in the garden a few minutes ago, and when I try to call them back, they are already listening to high-pitched sounds and coming back. Come here, come here, come here. Or any sort of sound that alerts them to the fact that you're there, but because they do want to be near you and they want to play with you. Later on, you can reinforce that also with a lot of snacks. Now, something to talk about snacks immediately is, of course, if you feed them a lot of high-value snacks, they're going to be less interested in their lower value foods. So you have to be, again, striking a balance. Treat a lot, treat for everything, every behavior you like. You go, yes, 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 yes. Good dog, excellent dog, constantly. They do a pee outside. Oh my God, they're great. They do a poo outside. Oh, fantastic. If they come to the recall, tip them very well. And I don't know if you've heard about this, about the jackpot. So every time you give them 8 treats, that's 1 unit of reward for 1 unit of good behavior, behavior you like. But every now and again, you want to give them a jackpot, and it needs to be random because they need to not be able to anticipate what precipitates the jackpot. They need to think, I don't know what, but maybe today, maybe I'll get a jackpot. Jackpot is basically three, four, five, as many as you like, treats, and just keep giving them, and they'll go crazy. You go crazy. Make it like a special occasion. If you know, recall is super important. One of the key, maybe 2 or 3 things is recall. So I would heavily lie on the jackpot treats for recall if they do it successfully. So talking about safe spaces, obviously you want to pick up anything from the floor that you don't want chewed up or you don't want them to swallow, small items. They are already starting to play with balls and chew toys, so those will be great to scatter around and show them, especially if they make a noise, it'll be exciting for them. But you have to play with them as well. It's not just a case of leaving a toy lying around on the ground. You'd have to pick it up and actually take time, spend time playing with it with the dog. Um, in terms of essentials for when the puppies first arrive to your home, a safe bowl, so typically metal, so that it doesn't break, also easy to clean, doesn't absorb any of the materials. Well, 2 bowls, obviously, one with water, one with the food. The water bowl always needs to be full of fresh water. I would ideally suggest that you go and replenish water twice a day. Never just top it up, pour out what's in there. There will be dog hair, there will be dog food, there will be muck and yuck in there already. And just get them a new fresh bowl of water, in the morning, in the evening, and allow them access to it at all times. Don't lock it away in another room, for example. Food bowls, initially, obviously, the puppies are small, but as they grow, you might want to find them an elevated food bowl so that it's off the ground, maybe, 6 to 8 inches, so that they don't need to lean forward. Apparently, that's better for their digestion. I don't know if that's really the case, but that's the recommendation. In the crate, you want to feed them in the crate initially. So every feed is in the crate. And some people did this. I didn't do this, but I think it's a nice idea, is to give them their food as a form of reward, especially if they're less interested in doing the things that you want them to do. Without a reward or with just a small amount of treats. So you have your portion of food, which is whatever it is at that stage, and you feed them gradually over the day with that portion in the form of rewards for things that they've done for you. And these puppies, they will be extremely intelligent and they will be extremely compliant and they will want to play with you. And doing things for you for a treat is basically playtime. So it's not like you're forcing them to do anything. They will want to do what you're asking them to do because it's fun, it's interactive, but also because of the treat. They will be teething. And as you know, they will be losing some teeth and they will be growing new teeth, which surprisingly quickly, it just really quickly happens over the course of a couple of weeks, and you don't really notice the difference. But they'll be getting caught into everything, those teeth, and they really need to chew. They need to chew all through their lives, so they need to have chew toys available to them at all times. Otherwise, they're going to turn to furniture or whatever it is that you're worried about them chewing up, they will chew up. By the way, there will be accidents. So we went on a little trip with Kóla, and she was, I think, maybe 7 or 8 months old. I can't remember. And thankfully, we had insurance because she did chew up in the dog-friendly guest house, one of the sofas. Um, yeah, so it cost us the excess that we had to pay on the insurance, probably about 80 quid. You can expect similar things to happen to you. And you just have to brace yourself. It's going to happen. It's okay. You'll get over it. And the chewing stops after a while. So it's something that you don't have to particularly worry about. Now, training wise, I really, really highly recommend that you go and do puppy training, whether as a personal training, which is what we did, or in a group. probably doesn't matter too much for us. The personal training worked really well. It was also during the lockdown period, so we found it much easier not to have to interact with people and keeping social distancing, blah, blah, blah. But we spent the first 10 months. So because we got her at 8 weeks, obviously she was a year old when we finished with her training. There was other things that she could have started doing. But at that point, she was quite stable with everything that we wanted. And again, it's never going to be a perfect dog. Don't expect a perfect dog. If you expect a perfect dog, you're setting yourself up for failure and you're just annoying and neuroticizing. That's the word I'm looking for, the dog. So if you want to end up with a well-balanced puppy who will do what you need them to do at the right time, that's a good enough. Good enough is good enough. That's an objective you should be shooting for, and not perfection. It's not gonna come. So with the training, it is obviously and almost by definition, it's not puppy training, it's human training. So the trainer will train you how you need to behave around your dog. And this video is not here to do that, so it doesn't replace puppy training. But I can talk to you a little bit about what kind of things you should be learning in puppy training. So obviously, the stop is a very important command that they need to be able to learn, because once they're off the lead, you need to be able to stop them at any time. And recall is the second very important one, that they must be able to come back to you when you need them to. A lot of bad behavior comes when people call out and nothing happens. And that's because of poor groundwork at the beginning. So if your dog does nothing else, they need to be able to stop and come back. I highly recommend the whistle. So I can do a whistle, a loud whistle with my fingers in my mouth, and not everybody can, and also not in my family. So whistle is something that's democratic, and it makes the same sound whoever is blowing it. So get a whistle and teach them to stop for whatever whistle technique you want to use. We use a single blow for stop, and a 3 blow deet 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 for come back for recall. Now, in terms of how you do this, you will need to have a recall lead, which is a very long lead, and you'll probably spend months getting it right, and that's okay. Be prepared that this is going to take a while. All the other tricks are so much easier to teach because it's immediate, it's right there. Like, for example, sit and down and go around and go across my leg and crawl, commando crawl. All of these things can be so easily with treats, or jump through a low fence or barrier. All of these you can teach them in 2 days. And basically, the essence of it is you teach the behavior, you don't name it, you just treat it. You say yes. Yes is the key word. Yes to everything. And once you get the right behavior and you give the treat, then you start calling the name of that behavior, like turn or like down or like sit. I usually use this for sit because it brings their heads up, and all you need to do is get their bum to go on the ground. If you have a treat in your hand right here, as you point your finger, they'll sit down and you'll release the treat. I usually just go from straight here, from right down, straight down for down, and give the treat down once they're down on the floor. And doing this to get them to go around, because you're dragging a treat around their heads, they will automatically go around and then they'll get the treat. As soon as they do the behavior, you can also get them to roll around on the floor, that sort of thing. Another very important thing to teach them is, of course, to leave it. And leave it and drop are two things that are quite similar to each other, not the same thing. I have to confess, I probably confuse the two from time to time, but the dog now knows what I want and what I need them to do. So and oftentimes you have more than one word for the same thing. For example, when I tell Kóla that we can cross the road together, I might say come, or I might say snap my fingers, or I might just go, and she knows because she's watching my body language and she can tell that we're going. If I want her to stay, that's the command. I walk across the road, but she stays on the other side of the road. But if I don't do that, she will automatically assume that she's allowed to come with me. So the leave it is really important. Kóla, particularly, I don't know if your puppy will be like that, but Kóla was someone who liked to gobble up horse shit. And so you have to teach them to leave stuff alone. And that includes other dogs, other humans, horse shit, and whatever else you want them to leave. So leave it is a very important command. So it's trained really easily with a treat. You've got a treat in your hand, you offer it to them, and when they want to take it, you brush their heads aside and you say, "No, leave it, leave it." And eventually, very quickly actually, they will realize that they're not allowed to have it. And then you have a treat in your other hand and you give that to them as a reward for leaving this. Immediately, literally within minutes, they'll get it. And they'll start going straight for the treat that is for them and leaving the treat that's not for them alone. You can put treats on their feet, on their heads, and they'll leave it alone until you say you can have it. I mean, Kóla is a Hungarian-speaking dog, so I can't speak for what kind of words you use, but it's if you want to say yours, that's fine, or you take it, or whatever it is that works. By the way, dogs only listen to the first syllable, basically. So any word that you use should be short, probably 2 syllables max. And just bear in mind that it's the first syllable that they notice. So if the first syllable is the same as for another command, that will be confusing. Try to make them different. So down is good, sit is good, up is good, leave it. All you need to say is leave because it's a single syllable and that's all they get. By the way, on that same, in terms of language, I want to say something disappointing to you, which is that dogs don't really know that they have a name. Their name is a call sign. It's saying, "Hey, you, pay attention." That's all it is. So Kóla is basically me saying, "Hey, you dog, listen." And so they will learn. They will also learn other dogs' names. For example, when they're puppy sat together with another dog, the other dog's name becomes a call sign for them as well because it often means treats. So Kóla will perk up when she hears the name of Bagel. So if someone calls Bagel, Kóla will go over as well because she suspects a treat might be in there for her. And so for that reason, you want the dog's name to be short and you want them to be a very callable name. You don't want it to be a soft sound. You want it to be a quite firm sound on the first syllable so that it's easy to emphasize, easy to call out and call out loudly, especially if you're displeased. You don't want to say the word, their name, when you're displeased because that's confusing again. So you have to be careful. No is a super good word. Yes is a very good word. Their name for calling and no. They need to know that no means stop whatever it is that you're doing. So on the subject of eating shit, we have been taught a very good trick. I mean, anything. They will eat dog shit. They will eat whatever it is that they can find, but you want to be able to stop them from doing that immediately. How do you do that? You get yourself a little soda bottle, 500 ml soda bottle, fill that up with up to about a third with pebbles, close it back down. You shake it, it makes a pretty nasty sound. They don't like that sound. If they start doing stuff you don't like, you say no, shake the bottle. If they don't stop the behavior, you can chuck the bottle. Don't chuck it at the dog, but chuck it next to the dog, and they will really dislike that. And so Kóla, who absolutely loved her horse shit, stopped doing that almost immediately and within a couple of days. And then I carried around that bottle with me just in case for months and months afterwards. And if I noticed something going on, I would just rattle it nice and gently. But I never had to throw it at her again. I threw it at her, next to her, not at her. I threw it next to her a couple of times, grand total. It's a great little tool. It's aggressive to the right level. Doesn't hurt the dog, but it really lets her know that you don't want that behavior. Which takes me to the point of behavior inside the house and how you stop that behavior inside the house as well. So one of the most important bad behaviors is stealing food and eating your food before you had your permission. I'd like to say that your crate is your friend in this instance. Kóla was notoriously up on the chairs, up on the table, stealing food off the table. Within 2 days, she was completely talked out of it. It should never happened again. And basically, any bad behavior that you notice and they completely know that they shouldn't be doing it and they're doing it anyway, stick them in the crate, leave them there for a limited period of time, disregard them, ignore them for maybe 5 to 10 minutes. Yes, there will be noise. They will be barking, they will be whinging. That's fine. Leave them there and then open the crate and completely and utterly ignore them, disregard them. Explain to your family members, your children, that the dog is in detention and you must not talk to them. The dogs don't like that. They want to be interacting, they want to be feeling part of the family. And so the real punishment is not being in the crate, it's being ignored. And if that behavior happens again, repeat the same 5 to 10 minutes in the crate, and then an hour, half an hour, whatever, of complete ignoring the dog. The behavior, trust me, will go away because this is the last thing they want. And that applies to everything. Any behavior that you don't like, you can talk them out of like that. Now, in terms of feeding, initially 3 feeds per day, then you go down to two. Some people go down to one. It's up to you. I don't like one. I feel like two is a nice balanced diet. You start in the morning, you finish off in the evening. Especially with young puppies, every time you feed, you take them straight out because there will be pees and poos immediately afterwards. And you want to reward that, and you don't want to have to scramble and to chuck them out as they are doing their business. If they do a pee or a poo in the house, try to catch them in the act, try to take them outside. There's no point punishing them because they have to have their business done. So don't shout at them, just stick them outside. And if they do it outside, be super happy and super treat. And within a couple of weeks, you'll get a puppy who will not soil the floor inside. I would not use training pads inside the house because it's encouraging behavior you don't want. You don't want them to go in the house. You want them to go outside the house. That will be more work for you because you got to take them out 10 times a day, at least 10 times a day, and initially also during the night. Now, coming to nights, especially with the puppies, you want a peaceful night, don't you? You don't want any barking, you don't want any attention seeking, but you have to invest time in getting that done. So basically, what you do is you set up the crate in a room that's other than your bedroom. If you have a two-story house, I would not encourage dogs on the top floor. Leave them on the ground floor for the night. And what you do is you come out of your room and you be with the puppy. So I would set the crate up. This is how we did it against next to a sofa bed or a sofa. Sleep on the sofa on the couch for a couple of days, a couple of weeks even, depends on the dog. Maybe stick your finger or hand inside the crate so that they can feel human touch, human warmth there, and just be there for them. Talk to them. And when they wake up in the middle of the night, do not interact. They need to go out. They will whinge. That's fine. You've closed the crate. You're not letting them wander about the house at night. They're in the crate, safe and closed. They'll whinge. They will wake you up. At that point, you will know that they want to go outside and have a wee. They don't like having a wee or a poo inside the crate, so let's not allow them to that to happen. Take them outside. Don't talk to them. Just be like a zombie, which is probably what you are, 2 o'clock in the morning. Let them have a pee or a poo, stick them straight back into the crate. They will quickly learn, quickly, I say quickly, in a couple of weeks' time, that the nighttime is not for fun, the nighttime is for sleeping. And they will also start not waking up or waking up only once during the night. Until they're safely sleeping through the night, I would advise you not to go back to your bedroom because you're going to end up coming out anyway. And it's a waste of everybody's time, and there will be noise, and everyone else will wake up. This way, it's only one of you. You can take turns if you want to. What else? What else in the initial periods? So Walks. Obviously, you're going to have to wait with the walks until you've had your 12-week vaccinations. And you can, and you're encouraged to take them outside before the vaccinations in a puppy pouch or in a baby trolley or whatever. Just don't allow interaction with other dogs, and probably not with other dog owners who've just been interacting with other dogs. But it's nice for them to see the outside, get the noises, get the sights, and it reduces their anxiety later on. I would also introduce, which we already do for these puppies, these YouTube videos with noises, all sorts of noises, fireworks, car doors slamming, car engines starting, people talking, phones ringing, doorbells ringing, doors knocking. All of these noises are really important not to get grow anxiety in the puppy. Oh, by the way, on the subject of YouTube videos, there is plenty of videos, well, audios really, available with just heartbeat sound. So initially, of course, the puppy will be missing their parents, even though some nice scented toys or blankets, etc., will be available, but they will be missing their mom and their previous family. So you're going to take your phone, find a nice heartbeat sound on YouTube, and just play that for long hours during the night. Just pop it on top of the crate, let them hear it, it calms them down. It might not be a big thing, but it is a little extra added comfort level for them, and it helps with sleeping through the night. So coming back to walks, at 12 weeks, you're going to want to start to walk them. And at that point, I would also immediately start the puppy training. So I would actually book it in before you even go on the walks. Initially, of course, you're going to be walking them on a lead with a collar. For this size of dog, I would encourage one of those breast collars, not just on the neck. You can do on the neck as well. It's not a big deal, but if they pull, it's going to potentially be unpleasant for everybody. A breast one with 2 points of contact, one down here and one in the back, is typically better. It controls them better, and it gives more safety to them as well. I would encourage you to find a spot that's probably hopefully close to you where you can safely let them off the lead. I wouldn't initially necessarily let them off the lead, but I would get that training lead, which is a super long lead, maybe 40 meters, and let them run around and then practice the recall. Because really, you want to be able to to let them off lead when you're confident that they will come back to you and not disappear into the distance somewhere. Always have lots of snacks with you, treats. I quite like cheese. It's simple. Buy a big block of cheese, chop it up into the tiniest little blocks, and feed every time they do something good. If they walk next to you, every 5 steps, every 7 steps, just give them a treat so that they know it's fun to walk together with you. And when you're out in the open, call them back frequently, give them a treat, play with them, tussle them up, tell them how good they are, and then let them go again, and just keep repeating that. Now, Kóla and probably her little children are going to likely be ball oriented rather than food oriented. So they still like their food and they accept their treats, but a ball is the best game in town. So get yourself a launcher and launch the ball. Of course, initially, you've only got about 10 minutes of playtime with a puppy, and I wouldn't get them to run as much as possible. Try not to get them to run. But eventually, at about, I would say, 4 or 5 months, you can get the ball out and you can chuck it around. And by 1 year, you can use the launcher to chuck it as far as you can possibly throw it. I think I'm going to stop here, and I'll come back to you with part 2 in the next video.